With the wolf warg offspring dealt with, I headed toward the ruins in which the Blackwolds were holed up in, hoping to find any other strongboxes for Constable Sageford and also Rurik's master key. Blackwold headquarters. Long ago, this ruined fortress guarded Cardolan against the armies of Angmar and Rudar, but now it serves as the seat of power of the Blackwold Brigands. These ruins must have been a tough defense within the eons of its splendor. The walls were thick and a moat still hugged the remains of what I presumed to be the keep. The remnant of this once sturdy tower housed the man I was looking for, Sergeant Applewood. His name had been given to me by Rurik, so it seemed logical that he would be in possession of the key. The lockbox was located outside of the keep, but further into the ruins proper. Fortunately, no one was nearby, so I secured the lockbox without danger.
How can I be of service? Would you do something for me?
Upon my return to the loggers' camp, Mason was pleased to have his ledger back. It seemed he truly did write most things down, including the location of the hanging tree. I supposed he would have been in much greater trouble without the ledger. The man was certainly forgetful and paused a lot to think. The intricate detail that suffused his writing must have been his method to circumvent this issue. With the location noted, I had no difficulty finding the correct stump and dug up a pair of old boots. Ted's father must have thought himself an excellent comedian, but I did not think Ted would be in the right mind to appreciate the joke.
Woe to me.
Wealth enough to keep you warm and shod. The words of Ted's father. One half had been proven correct. The other would also, as Ted cut open one of the shoe's heels and gold coins tumbled into his hands. He thanked me and I wished him luck with his new start and determination to do better than his father.
Greetings. What do you need?
Sageford was glad I had returned with the key, and we opened the lockbox. I kept a small trinket for myself and left the treasure with the constable to divvy between those most affected by the Blackwolds. The other strongbox told a similar tale, even down to the initials scratched next to the lock.
How can I be of service? Would you do something for me?
Ellie was pleased that her hand in the disintegration of the surrounding wildlife had come to a quick end. She mentioned someone with the name Jagger Jack. This was the Blackwold's wolf trainer. To prevent the wolves from being turned against Combe, she proposed the use of poison and directed me toward Leecher Cartwell. Cartwell's address took me to a humble shop. He was a healer, so knew much about poisons. Strange effusions filled my nose as I entered, and a variety of vials and bottles lined the walls.
How can I be of service?
Cartwell was altruistic and happy to help. He had also noted the restlessness of the animals near the Chetwood, and was eager to repair relations between the folk of Combe and Cutleaf herself. He knew precisely what to brew, but required honey, red berries, and blackwort root, so I set off in search of them. The red berries were interspersed between numerous bears. These did not show any signs of aggression, so I made sure to move around them. There was no honor in decimating an animal who had as much a right to be there as I. The honey was a doddle, as I had worked with bees before in my youth, but the blackwort roots were more of an occasion. I once again had to hack my way through several wolves before returning to Cartwell with all he needed.
Greetings, friend.
He efficiently brewed the poison, and I was again stood in front of Cutleaf in no time at all.
Greetings. Might I take a moment of your time?
She stressed how vital trust between us would be for the following stages of her plan. She had so far provided good intelligence and cunning. The fact that I had done almost all of the work while she remained home did not strike me as important. It seemed many people had ideas and solutions to issues, and that the only thing lacking was their confidence to see them through. I was determined to demonstrate it was possible. I would find Jagger Jack, slay him, and end his influence by poisoning some of the corpses that were used to feed his beasts. Meanwhile, Cutleaf would speak with Skunkwood about a new recruit she had found, enabling me access to his hideout. My first foray attempting to push further into the ruins was almost disastrous. Many more Blackwolds were present, and while trying to find an area to fight with my back to the wall, I only attracted more attention. Laboringly, I managed to extract myself from the range of their projectiles and decided to be more meticulous with my approach. Prodding my way to the opposite end of the ruins, I identified the source of Filbert and Cutleaf's anxiety. There was certainly something greater at work within the Blackwolds. The land itself was sickly. Strange robed men were present, and what could only be described as fell magics pervaded the air. Some sort of nefarious fire or totem was burning with an aberrant glow. My skin constantly crawled while I shared the same space as this thing, and I was eager to conclude my business with Jagger Jack and leave. Moment by moment I felt smaller, like all the fight I had and everything I would give would never be enough to overcome such evil. Jagger Jack did not tighten this chokehold any further, however. My uneasiness and his alliance with these dark powers did not prove to be greater than my resolve. Returning to Combe, the richness of the air, stuffed with life and people, purged my soul from almost all the tendrils of despair left by that stain of darkness. Almost. The immenseness of what lurked out of sight, biding its time and waiting for an opportunity, had now burrowed its way into me, souring any victories I achieved and any noble deeds I would witness for a long time to come.
What do you need? Could I speak with you a moment?
Returning to Cutleaf brought fair tidings. She had been able to meet with Skunkwood, persuading him to grant me audience. He had been speaking with one of the strange men, and Cutleaf had heard the name Amdir pass his lips. I had been so busy with what felt like all of Middle-earth's complications, and being pulled back onto my initial goal was enlivening. Cutleaf and I were now in accord concerning the evil spreading amongst the Blackwolds. I felt a knowing look in her eye as she appraised mine, and felt like I was beginning to peel back the coverings of a deep secret that permeated the land for I know not how far. These meddlesome thoughts were of no use, however. I had to act fast before this Skunkwood learnt of Jagger Jack's death. The location of his lair had finally been unveiled, and I also learnt he was second to one of the strange men named Aegon, who had been given control of the Blackwolds a short time ago. It had been that proved to be the turning point for their organization. Before I took my leave, I decided to speak once again with Torredan.
What can I do for you?
Torredan was pleased with my progress, and we decided on a course of action. I would speak with Skunkwood and feign interest in their captive, purely to see if the tales were true. Then I would attempt to rescue the ranger, with Torredan close behind and ready to lend his aid. The hideout was at the base of Staddle Falls. It seemed almost picturesque. Having so recently stood atop this waterfall in search of Ted's father's buried boots, hideout certainly made an apt name, for I had had no idea of my close proximity to this villainous burrow. An aura of mystique and subterfuge emanated from the doorway, and the fact that the entrance was not behind the waterfall was the only thing that left my inner child wanting.
The hunt for Amdir leads to the hideout of the brigand Skunkwood, but to what end is unknown.
How can I be of service?
Upon entry, I was greeted by a nasty-looking guard. Thankfully, he connected my presence with Cutleaf's recommendation and gave me leave to speak with Skunkwood. Testily, I summoned Humphrey to my side, but this seemed to cause no great stir. The hideout was larger than I had presumed, and showed signs of unpleasantness immediately. What I could only assume were prisons of some sort hung from the ceilings, in clear sight of any Blackwolds who wished to torment their captives. Within this wretched hive, recent memories of Covell's transgressions and the twisted understandability of his case were stirred to the surface by the simple yet elegant music which echoed throughout the bandits' barracks. A reminder that evil men such as these were still human. Each had their own story, and even they enjoyed pleasures that enriched the soul. Awaiting me further in was Skunkwood. He sat atop his throne, isled with bones with the presence of a dark king. Sorcery channeled through the torches, cages hung in the air above his head, and a sheet of water was all that separated the man and the world outside. A foreboding sign, to be sure. Yet, he was not facing that way. He was facing me, and I straightened my back and strode forward to meet the phantom threat that had lurked out of eyesight for so long.
This is intolerable!
He did not see through the deceit laid by Cutleaf and myself. I forced down the bile creeping up my throat at his mention of the supposed good men he had lost at Archet by envisioning the true citizens in their stead. More importantly, he welcomed me into the fold and granted me permission to see Amdir.
The voice, it will not stop.
Amdir had taken on a wretched, wraith-like visage. His very being was fading now. He looked almost translucent, and his features were ghoulish. He spoke of a voice, commanding him and telling him about the end of all things, and then he named it. The Dark Lord. I had hardly the time to process these words as he broke free of his fetters and ran back the way I had come.
Your coming is a boon, young one.
Before I could follow, another captive, Sarah Oakhart, called to me. Hasty words were exchanged between us, in which she promised to tell me of what had happened to Amdir if I would help her escape. I could not leave this mysterious yet innocent old lady to the Blackwolds, so agreed. Doing so made clear my true allegiances to the Blackwold guards nearby, but this was no matter. Amdir had already escaped, and now had to learn what I could of him and help this woman reach freedom. The true burden of this task was soon made clear. Oakhart was possibly the slowest moving being I had ever encountered. The rush of excitement and urgency was pummeling against the inside of my skin, but I had to grit my teeth and wait, praying that we would take the most direct route possible. Watching her move past the exit with the speed of mud made me despair. She needed to retrieve her stick. I had already lost so much time, however, that a little more did not seem so vital, so I accompanied her further. What she had described as a stick intrigued me. It more resembled the staff of a wizard, like I had heard of in tales told by my mother. But if it was, she demonstrated no sign of it, so we pressed back toward the exit. The delay had allowed Skunkwood to block our way out. This did not bother me. The idea of leaving the hideouts with him still alive left a bitter taste in my mouth, so finishing him off here and now was necessary. The man had caused unmeasurable pain to those around me. Whether this Aegon was the true mastermind was of no import. Skunkwood had given him the reins, so was ultimately responsible for all that occurred afterward. Another piece had been removed from the Blackwold organization. Whether it was integral would be proved in time. My naivety that the Blackwolds had been conquered at the assault of Archet remained tangible, so I decided to be more wary and reserved with my hope.
It is too late for me.
Even reserved hope was a high peak compared to the plunging depth I felt watching Amdir plunge his blade into his brother-in-arms, Toradan. Whatever gripped the poor ranger was stronger than anticipated. With this act, I lost all belief that he could be saved.
Oh dear, how terrible.
The helplessness I had felt in the presence of the dark powers near Jack struck true and aligned well with the feelings Amdir had spoken of. Toradan's last words prevented my emotions spiraling to a place I had no wish to be, and Oakhart's freedom provided a silver lining. I would seek Underhill and find out if Tangle Rush's message had been delivered. Other rangers could still be saved, and this became the lifeline I clung to.
Hello there. Might I have a word with you?
From Underhill, I learnt that Tangle Rush was a constable in Staddle. The time had come to move on from Combe. I had done all that I could here, and while the ranger's fate still hung in the balance, I was glad the townsfolk had received all the help I could give. I prayed that some semblance of normalcy could return to the town, or that, at the very least, they were in a better position to defend themselves. Trade would renew with Archet, and hopefully the two towns could form a trusting relationship with each other. If Staddle could be added to this grouping, my work would be moving in the right direction. Like here, I now vowed to leave every place I would visit stronger than I had found it. But the immediate future held a meeting with this Mundal. Perhaps his fate would be kinder than Toradan's.